Hello, welcome to SquishiVision. I've just finished watching the final. Whoa, what's happening here? That's not what went happen. Let's just hit that green screen and. Nope, that's not fixing it. Well, this wasn't how I was planning to start the video off, but somehow that's always how it ends up going. Let me just fix this real quick. That'll do. Hello, welcome to SquishiVision. My name is Haaris, and I'm about to give my immediate reaction to the last two episodes of Hawkeye. I watched them both together, and so I'm going to give my thoughts to those two episodes and the entire series as a whole. This is me having just watched it, so my immediate reactions are a chance to kind of nitpick and delve into small details. Although there were some small details that I noticed. Small details like this annoying green screen. That was a bad seek into a irrelevant complaint. Never mind. Anyway. So yeah, I definitely feel these two were like the highlights of the episode. I guess my kind of issue, I think, with the... So I mentioned last week that we got the traditional buddy cop conflict where the two people fall out and break apart, and you know, that's kind of like it's usually a mid-act conflict in a buddy cop, sometimes mid to late conflict, but that's usually the conflict that you get. And having it in essentially the 4th of 6 episodes seemed cutting it very fine in terms of resolution, because then you would have got... Okay, go a second, my cat's trying to get into the kitchen. River! Be right back. Sorry about that, my cat just broke into the kitchen, which he's not allowed to go into. Anyway, where was I? So, I was like, well, how are they going to resolve this in the time they have left? And the answer was pretty much without any kind of actual work. Kate just turned back up during Ronin's fight with Maya, and it's just like, yeah, sure. It kind of undermines the whole impact of the Yelena kind of appearance and how much that was meant to be an extra threat that he would send away Kate for her own good. And he's just like, actually, you know what, no big deal, I guess. That's just how things are. So I wasn't particularly fond of that kind of turnaround, but I mean, it is what it is. So I guess I'm trying to remind myself what happened in the 5th episode, because it's kind of all blends together. But yeah, so Hawkeye's kind of like gives a phone call to his wife and he's like, I'm gonna have to go to extreme measures to resolve this kind of vibe, but then ends up actually doing nothing more drastic than fighting Maya, revealing that he's Ronin, and then appealing to her by saying, hey, we're both kind of emotionally vulnerable people who are manipulated by other people, and then makes the reveal that the reason why he went after the tracksuit mafia was because he got a tip by an informant, and then basically was like, you know, hey, I did kill your folks, but someone pointed me that direction within your organization, which, you know, is a reveal for Maya and kind of is going to turn everything on her head, but doesn't actually change the fact that A, he killed her father, and B, probably wouldn't have done it anyway. I mean, clearly the only motivation he had to go kill him was because he wanted to anyway. So I'm not sure how that absolves him to her. Maybe it doesn't actually absolve him to her. Maybe it just changes her priorities a whole bunch. Maybe she doesn't really care about the tool anymore rather than the instigator. But you know, whatever. It was a cool fight. I don't know how much I'm meant to buy. Maya is skilled enough to... It's kind of, there's a lot of inconsistency about how good a fighter Hawkeye is. I mean, he's an Avenger, so you were meant to assume he's really good, like he's peak human at what he can do, which includes hand-to-hand combat. And we assume this is probably very likely, considering that everyone who survived the blip, who was a member of, you know, a criminal organization, was pretty much mowed down by him by quite easily. As the insinuation we've got, he was able to use his extraordinary talent to basically be this force of nature. And yet somehow he is struggling to go toe-to-toe with Maya. And I can probably buy Maya is perhaps just that good at what she can do. That's fine, I guess. I make one exception. There needs to be some degree of conflict here. But then we got Kazi, who apparently was giving him trouble, even if it was just for a few minutes. And I don't know. That I felt was perhaps pushing it at, like, undermines kind of his skill set, really. I mean, what? I don't know if Kazi's I think Kazi might be a character in the comics. I don't know if he has like any special abilities. Maybe that might give him some degree of weight to that, but I don't know. Whoops. It seems but that's by the by. Oh dear me. Especially considering that he like knocks him out no problem in like episode 5. Doing a live broadcast when you have cats is like fun. And then yeah, basically we get one of the highlights of the series, which is Yelena having a chat with Kate, and I just love what Florence Pugh does in that scene. She completely owns it. Not to say, I mean, no, not to undermine the work that what's her name? Haley signed by the. I've forgotten what her name is now. Yeah, Haley Steinfeld. Not to the amount because she was obviously an excellent scene partner, but it was very much Florence Pugh's scene. And both me and my best friend were watching it, and we were completely like laughing the entire time because she completely owned her own character, and was able to be like this threatening presence, but actually a reassuring presence. And I think really Kate Bishop kind of sums it up in the fight they have in the next episode, which I'll talk to her about a bit, when she's like, stop making me like you, and she's like, I just can't help it, and it's like, oh, that's exactly it. Like, she's such a great character. You know, she completely owns the entire scene. The whole like demeanor was very kind of fresh and entertaining. The whole like, she genuinely was just there to chat. She wasn't even trying to be threatening. It wasn't even like, you know, that whole like pleasantry demeanor. I think she was actually being genuine in how she was trying to speak to Kate. So I kind of actually really dug that kind of whole vibe there. What else happened in that episode? And then we got, I think the really of a major thing was the reveal of Kingpin, which everyone had kind of been speculating / rumoring / guessing correctly was going to happen. Maybe it's actually the first time in any of these series that someone's guessed something was going to happen and it actually did happen. Finally, we got our Mephisto, if not actually Mephisto himself, a Kingpin. And it's played by the same dude who played him in Daredevil, which I haven't actually seen yet. Because I'm a coward and I don't like graphic, gory violence, which is what you get in cat concern. What's happening? Which is what you get in those Netflix shows. At some point, I will force myself to watch it because I'm missing out in an area of the MCU. But does this give us hope of a Netflix series? Kind of. I mean, people were speculating that Charlie Cox is in Spider-Man. Not seen it yet. Desperately avoiding spoilers. Gonna go see it as soon as I can, sometime in January. But people be saying, "Oh, they've decanonized the Marvel television shows, like the Netflix shows and the ABC shows, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D." I'm like, canonicity really doesn't matter. Continuity is what matters. And as far as I see, nothing has happened in the shows that kind of conflicts anything that happens, at least Agents of Shield and Agent Carter. I've not again seen the Netflix shows. I mean, the last couple of seasons of Agents of Shield kind of, I guess, did clash continuity wise, but in a way which is kind of adjacent, and it's a bit confusing, but weird nose moment there, we can disregard that. Anyway, so yeah, this gives us kind of hope that they're not disregarding the Marvel Television stuff, and now they're bringing it into the Marvel Studios TV shows. Hopefully that's not a giant leap to bringing it into the films, which have been somewhat avoidant to do, even though everyone has been desperate for that to happen. And he had, and you know, Kingpin had quite a prolific kind of role in the final episode, and our final episode was just everything I kind of hoped it to be. There was fun action, there was like banter, but not, you know, it wasn't even Marvel quip banter. It was actual just genuine fun banter. Not to say that Marvel quip banter is bad, but people criticize it for being a bit overdone, and I kind of do see that to an extent. You know, there's lots of heartfelt moments. But yeah, there was like the episode was just great. Like the fight between Kate Bishop and Yelena was excellent. Like the whole, like you could tell Yelena was just playing with Kate, but also kind of impressed that Kate was able to hold her own as much as she did. And Kate was pretty winging it, but you know, like I think when she genuinely, you know, complimented Kate's over the head throw, she was being genuine. Even though, you know, she was also just playing with Kate, and I love that thing. I love that kind of casual kind of fight between two people who are actually enemies. And then there was obviously the much more brutal fight between Hawkeye and Yelena. But then, you know, you can tell that Yelena knew there was some degree of truth to be told in what Hawkeye was saying. And then I love the kind of very, very strong connections to Black Widow. Like they were, you know, the whole whistle thing. The talking about the escape. Like that's a very natural but strong tie together, which is always great to see. I think at this point where you're used to it, like I think in the early, you know, seasons of Agents of Shield, that would be like, oh, I know what they're talking about in that bit. Well, here I think we're used to it, but even then it was kind of nice that they kind of tied it together so strongly. And I can absolutely believe that, you know, the secret whistle was something which Santa would have told Barton, and that, you know, that would have used, that would tend to Yelena all the way around. Like she was still very cautious, but she was able to hear him out, and she kind of believed him. I guess, you know, making the angle that she sacrificed herself because she's wanting to save Yelena, was something Yelena would believe more than wanting to save Clint. What else? I was about to tie into something else. Let me get my brain together a bit, distracted by a kitten with zoomies. There's also the fight between Naya and Kazi, which I cared a bit less about, and I wasn't. I think the choreographers cared a little less about because it put as much energy into it as they probably did all the other kind of fights. But I guess it was kind of just to tie up that loose end. Jack was funny with his whole kind of sword fighting. Like he was like, "Oh, I have no idea what's going on, but there's a sword fight. There's bad guys, and I have a sword. I don't know why he has a sword. Is that allowed in New York? You couldn't get away with that here in Britain." They were just like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna casually mow down some people with a sword. Huzzah!" I like that. I like that kind of tie to his comic character as well. Oh, and the bit where they were using all those arrows to kind of fight all the tracksuit mafia bit was just like pure fun. Like the different kind of arrows they use, like how they changed it up, the mix between normal arrows and trick arrows. Some of it looked very painful. Some looked very fatal in a very painful way. I'm pretty certain. I like how they used the pim arrow. They used the pim arrow to kind of shrink that van, but also would not immediately like kill the guys in it. Like in Ant-Man and the Wasp, when they shrunk vehicles, they were specially designed vehicles to like maintain the atmosphere you needed to survive in. Whilst this was just a normal vehicle with the windows open, no less. Lily, please. This kid has far too much energy. My older cat is annoyed. Sorry man, that was a bit lucky. Surely I would kill them. Maybe they were just alive for a little bit longer. Also, they like Clint was like, I have no issues with this owl just taking this toy truck away. Even though they're never going to probably find the truck ever again, and therefore have doomed these two, all these people to like a very horrible death. I guess is what's happened there. I mean, I guess we deserve it. I guess. Also, what was with the owl? The owl was very odd. Like both in design, like it was a very obvious CGI, cartoony in design owl, but the amount of prominence given. Is it like an Easter egg there? Because I mean, I look at an article. There's nothing like that in the comics. And it's like the creature from Star Wars, the owl thing that follows Ahsoka around. I forget what it's called now. But yeah, that was odd. And then I love the Kingpin, Kate Bishop, but I love how they maintained the brutality of. Also, Kingpin was terrifying. Like, I've not seen Daredevil, but I know very familiar character in things like Spider-Man video games and other kind of from certain comic panels I've seen, and the character is pretty brutal, violent. I mean, it kind of makes me want to see Daredevil now. Well, not that I didn't want to see it before, but like I just love how they didn't withhold any brutality. Like you were always very kind of concerned that this character was gonna snap at any given moment, and like break someone's face. And hey Lily, tell the world what a nuisance you are. She just got spayed like last Friday, so she's dealing with that. But I like how in the fight with Kate Bishop, he was completely like no selling any of her attacks. Like nothing she did against him was causing him any amount of concern. Oh, okay. You need to like not click on things whilst I'm streaming. Clearly, you're gonna delete things. You almost delete the camera, which would be hilarious, I guess. Now it's like a half camera screen. What was I saying? And like, she only won because she basically had an explosive that she was able to like trigger with the trick that Clint taught her earlier. Otherwise, like, he was completely like just throwing her around. Although the fact that Eleanor basically hit him with a car and no one heard that happen, no one heard that coming, is a bit kind of like hard to believe. Like, cars are noisy, yo. Yeah, and then they well, I say they saved the day. They Kingpin escapes, and as far as they are aware, is still up and around. So I don't know why they're like not concerned about retribution. I guess maybe they are. Like I don't know what exactly they've kind of resolved. Because I'm pretty sure that some makes Kate Bishop like a target for people, and her family as well. Even though, I mean, I guess she's in prison, but that's not a safe place to be by any means. Like prisons are like where you get shanked, and people don't particularly care about it. So I'm not sure. Lily, please. I'm not sure what has actually what they've actually. I guess it's mainly Maya who has it out for them. I mean, obviously, none of us are at one bit convinced that the kitten moved the mouse. I think she's like realised that that's what controls the cursor, which is a bit of scary amount of awareness from a cat. I think none of us are 1 second convinced that Kingpin is dead. Like, I think that's pretty much like either he got shot and survived, and I'm pretty sure he's done that like in comics loads before, or Maya just decided not to shoot him. One or the other. So I guess Maya's no longer like on the tail, which I guess is one thing. But sure, the Kingpin someone's retribution, and like they, as far as I'm aware, still alive, but that's not necessarily concerned. I love the entire series. I thought it was. My other concerns, I think it was a bit too slow, and the pacing we had in the last 2 episodes was kind of what I want for the entire series. But now I've seen the entire series as a whole, and I get the scope of what they were going for. And now everything's kind of, fall into place. And Nando from None of You Movies predicted it correctly in terms of who was actually responsible in the end, being Elena's mother. And I'm not convinced it was not. I still think it was to a degree a bit of a turnaround. Without like they referenced it in the first episode and then just ignored it and then put it back, and I think it's a bit of a cheat. I think you need to drop in hints throughout. Maybe there were hints throughout that we just missed, but I mean maybe also that's not really an issue. 1 second, my cat wants to clean herself and I have to take off the cone. But yeah, that kind of neats everything together. That's the phrase we're gonna go with. That kind of ties everything together. And I think now we know the whole scope of the project. It kind of worked. It was a much more kind of intimate story than the other Marvel shows, I guess. Like, there wasn't this wide, big potential impact that we were gonna get from the thing. Like, it only affected a couple of people, and that made it a much more smaller scale project, story rather. And I think, with that in mind, the pacing was fine. Nothing felt rushed in the end. I don't think any of the resolutions felt particularly rushed, apart from obviously apart from the resolution where Barton and Bishop make up. Apart from that, everything else was kind of fine in terms of pacing. Maybe it should have been a bit more time, I guess, given the Yelena Barton conflict. But even then, I'm not. It's not about them. It was a B plot. I think it worked. I liked how well it balanced actually all the moving parts in the last episode. That was kind of good. So I enjoyed it. I felt it was fun. I felt the humor was nice. It was very kind of chill humor. It wasn't in your face all the time, but it was kind of very casual. The chemistry was fantastic. So I absolutely love Hawkeye. I don't know if they're planning a second season. I kind of hope they are. I think possibly after Loki, this is my second favorite of the Disney Plus Marvel shows. So it'll be interesting to see. And there's some tie-ins going forward to other stuff as well. So I mean, I hope we get to see more of Lena. Definitely, Lena's like a standout from this show. I think almost certainly we will see Bishop, whether that's in her own thing or in one of the movies. I like Jeremy Renner, so I hope we get some more of him. And obviously, there's obviously going to be the spin-off Echo featuring Maya. So maybe there'll be like a tie-in for that. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think, if you enjoyed Hawkeye, if you felt there was kind of there should be more to it or less to it or whatever. And that ends this kind of string of things that I'm watching. I mean, I'm watching Discovery, but I'm writing, blogging about that rather than doing a stream, primarily because that's why I started it, and I kind of want to finish the same media. Um, wow, sorry, I got distracted from my cat again. I was having a lot in this video. I don't know if no other Marvel shows are actually coming up. I don't think, apart from obviously season 2. I lie. There's a whole bunch coming up, but I think they're coming up next year. So it's gonna be a while to the next one. The next one probably see me is when I eventually get around to watching Spider-Man: No Way Home, which has been a few weeks' time, and I'm still struggling. I'm still battling against the spoilers. I think I've only had one thing spoiled for me. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.